people say, "So what?"
Mhm.
It's not with the fact that I don't care. It's with
Right.
the fact that I can't do anything about that now. Let's move on to the next present moment, right? And so we have three places we could be playing, and the most confidence that we can have is playing in the present moment because a couple of confidence killers, right, is playing in the past, which is regret, resentment, bitterness, and trying to play in the future, which is worry, doubt, anxiety about the unknown. And so when we play in the present moment by saying, hey, so what, next pitch, right here, next pitch. And Brian Kane talks a lot about this with the teams he works with, where a whole team is saying, hey, so what, next pitch. And it's talking about, hey, move on to this next pitch. And so sometimes, like you were saying, we're so in our own minds and we're so hard on ourselves that we need somebody in a team from the outside to hey yell out hey so what, and then I've used it and it's a trigger now to come up wait a second, so what, who cares, we get three strikes in this, not just one strike, right there. Wait, he's human too, he's not trying to make bad calls, he's just doing the best that he can. He made a bad call, so what, move on to this next pitch. So I think that's crucial. That's great, and it kind of goes into what I call vocabulary of victory. If you're saying things like "so what" to yourself,
Yeah.
that's a victory, and that I'm moving on. Instead of "oh my gosh, Brandon, you piece of you know what, I can't believe you did that. How could you swing at that? Or how could you let that pitch right down the middle go? What are you looking for?" Right? When we start to break ourselves down rather than build ourselves up, those are confidence killers. So we have the ability with a vocabulary of victory, we start to develop words that build ourselves up. That is the probably number one way to build confidence. We have to be our own best coach. We are our own worst enemy most of the times, but we have the ability, remember, this is us trying to level up our audience. We have the ability to choose what we're going to say to ourselves. And so that vocabulary of victory, when I say something and work from the inside out, all of a sudden I say, hey, I'm the best player in the world. I'm the best player in the world. All of a sudden my shoulders go back, my chest goes out, my chin goes up. All of a sudden I'm affecting my body language, which my body language is my muscles. My mind is telling my muscles what to do. But if I'm telling myself, oh, you're a piece of crap, oh, you suck, I can't believe that happened. I start to do this, I start to do this. Okay. And then to the point where I'm just so small that I feel small mentally. And then I start to cut off my oxygen path. When I am like this, my lungs, I can breathe. When I can breathe, I can slow things down. Talk about another way to rubberize the confidence is breathing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But just our body language, right? Brendan, can you talk about body language, what that means to you, what that meant to your career?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I was thinking of confidence and all the different factors that go into it, and I just started thinking about body language was one of the biggest ones. Early on, I'm going to go back to high school, and this isn't even baseball related, but I remember as a freshman walking on campus, I had an older brother who was a junior, and I remember walking into, I mean, super nervous the first day. And I remember walking into the main portion of campus where everyone's at, and my brother saw me walking up, and he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "You're walking around with your head down right now," and he goes, "You don't look very confident to me." He goes, "People aren't going to come up talk to you. People aren't going to gravitate towards you if you're not confident, if you don't believe in yourself." And I didn't realize how much of an effect that had on me because I mean, I
Mm,
did carry that through baseball. I carried in my professional career. Confidence through body language is enormous. Our bodies emit so much just energy. It's absolutely insane. And people gravitate towards it. People can feel it. So if you're not a confident person, your body language is going to be those slumped shoulders, like you talked about.
mhm.
And I think there's a great opportunity too. Talking about those, failures that we're going to have, and it's going to be difficult some days. I think to carry your head high, to carry your shoulders out. But I truly believe in that when especially going back to like the victory vocabulary you just talked about. You have an opportunity to sort of fake it to make whatever confidence you need to fake it to make whatever energy you need. Um, I think is a huge part of it. But body language itself, it translates into every single day life. I mean, it's on the baseball field. It's how your teammates are going to see you. It could be sitting in front of a prospect in a sales meeting, and them having any belief in what you're saying and whether they're going to purchase from you. I think the body language is enormous, and it's something, everyone should think about as one of their maybe checklists when, going into a meeting, stepping up to the plate, going through their mental preparation. Thinking about that body language is huge.
Absolutely. And it brings me back to, I mean, you mentioned that sometimes it's going to be hard to do those things now, and something that Harvey Dorfman talks about. He's probably one of a pioneer like Ken Ravizza. He said, hey, you know what? Worry about your feelings later. In the game, you have to do. It's not time to feel, right? So it's not easy, but it is doable. And I was not a big fan of that term "fake it till you make it" for the
Yeah,
longest time because it felt so um, disingenuine, or like you could just poke holes in it. And so I kind of just heard a couple more things about it, and someone, had you stand in front of a mirror and just smile.
right.
And like for 30 seconds, or I think it was even a minute, to where it was literally trying to change the inside from the outside. And it doesn't work all the time, but if you
Yeah.
sit there and smile for a minute, there is no way that you can help but feel good
Yep.
inside. And so sometimes we have to work it from the outside in. Sometimes the inside is just like, I'm not willing to do this. So we have to do it from the outside in. And one of the coolest things about building confidence is actually stealing confidence from the opponent.
Mm.
Let me tell you what I mean by that. A couple of things. If I'm a pitcher and say I don't even have my best stuff, but for some reason I can hit the outside corner and the umpire is giving it to me, I can watch hitters react to it where they're just like looking at it and they look back at the umpire like, are you kidding me? Is that a strike? You just showed me through your body language where you're weak. You just showed me that you cannot hit that pitch, or you are unwilling to go for the pitch that I can actually throw. And that is one way to gain confidence, is by actually stealing confidence from another team.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You say that too. I think about as an individual player all the time, and I try to emit that to players I coach and players I influence. Is I always tell them, I say, hey, look, I was like, you have to, and I know this is kind of a little bit of a crazy out there example, but I tell them you have to think of yourself in medieval times, or as a barbaric animal out in the wilderness. You know, people feed off of the weak, and you
Hmm.
feed off of someone who's not confident, or the someone who's not going to put up a fight. So if you're out in the wild, and you're either going to be a predator or you're going to be the prey. So
Yep.
I tell those players, it's the way you emit your body language, and the confidence you show. You can't ever show weakness, because again, you're going to be giving that other person, like you mentioned, confidence, or you're going to become the prey in this instance.